These are a pair of Charizard-themed Jordan 1s that I painted. At first glance, they might even look like something you've probably seen me do before, right? But these weren't just made as some showpiece. They were actually made to be worn, and I'm gonna be giving them to my brother to wear at card conventions. So there's a lot riding on them. And on top of that, I'm not even using the same painting system that I've used for thousands of pairs in the past, because I've switched everything over. So in this video, I'll show you how I'm using the full KixKote system on one of my first major projects since making the switch. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about the shoe itself. This is the Jordan 1 High in the Sail and Pale Ivory colorway. And quite frankly, this is an awesome base for a project like this because we have so many different materials. Leather, canvas, and even nubuck all on the same shoe. Each of these materials is going to require something just a little bit different paint and additive wise, and I'll show you exactly when and how to use them. Now, just because the paint is stronger doesn't mean you skip the fundamentals of good prep work. So I'm still doing a light sanding, scuffing, and an acetone wipe down. Nothing fancy or new here in this phase, but this is the foundation for everything that comes after. For the design itself, I really wanted something that was still wearable and didn't really focus on a character graphic that was taking up a majority of the shoe. But before any paint gets laid down, there's one thing that I want to try and fix that I noticed on the first pair that I made for my son using KixKote. I realized that while the paint held up amazingly everywhere on these, it still wore off on the stitching near the toe. So what I'm going to do is take some of the paint and rub it across all the stitching on the upper. You can thin these paints out with water, but they're very thin right out of the bottle, so I'm not going to. Then I'll take a Q-tip dipped in acetone and rub away the excess. The goal here is to try and burn the paint into the stitching, almost like we're dyeing it. So hopefully none of that original stitching shows later on. I plan to work on these orange panels first, so I'll mask everything else off that we're not ready for yet. Alright, time to prime these with adhesion promoter. This is the first part of the process that's much different. You're going to need two things, your adhesion promoter and sticky icky. Here's what you need to do. Add your adhesion promoter into your airbrush cup, then grab your sticky icky and add around 5 to 10% directly into the cup as well. You're going to be adding this stuff into everything. Once I've added both of those into my airbrush cup, I can backflow them together and then apply one coat to the upper and let that dry for about 20 minutes. Then apply a second coat and let that dry for another 20 minutes. Here's where it's different from other adhesion promoters you might have used. Usually right after that second coat, you want to start applying paint right away. But not here. Let that second coat dry for a bit. Honestly, one of the things that had me most excited about KixKote when I first heard about it was the ability to order custom colors. I uploaded these color swatches and they sent me back 3 custom paints with my name on them. If you want to try this out for your next project or pick up anything else, make sure to use my code DCF15 on KixKote.com. No color mixing, ready to go, delivered right to you. I mean, come on, how cool is that? For the paint application, make sure to add some of that sticky icky directly into your airbrush and backflow it together before you start spraying. Do not just pour it into the bottle and keep it there long term. You want to re-add the sticky icky each time in order to properly activate it. It has roughly a 4 to 6 hour pot life. Alright, first coat down. I've let that dry for about 20 minutes. I know you guys are going to want to see a scratch test now, so let's get into that. See if maybe a penny will do anything. Impressive stuff. Now, let's move into coat number 2. But I gotta be honest with you guys, I made a bit of a mistake here. Just like I've always taught you, you want to build up your colors with a bit of white in the beginning stages. I sort of skipped that step out of pure excitement to see how the custom colors would work. Because we've got some of that gray leather peeking through, those spots can be hard to cover up. But I know that I can always hide them with some textures later down the line. Lesson learned for the future though. While that leather's drying, let's move over to the canvas material. And this is where we need to add some soft feel into the paint. You only need about 5 to 10% and a couple drops of sticky icky. This is not a traditional fabric medium where you would mix that at a 1-to-1 ratio. There's a bit of retraining your mind and that instinct you've probably built up over the years when working with this new system. I am still heat setting after each coat though. The thing about these paints is that even if you didn't apply this additive, it's still not going to stiffen up the material anywhere near as much as traditional acrylics. One more technique that I'm still doing as we get to the end of the base coats is painting one coat completely by hand. This ensures that if I need to do touch-ups later, the paint color will match. Otherwise, it'll end up darker. It also helps get an even look everywhere near the stitching, which is an easy area to miss if you're just airbrushing. After about 5 to 6 light coats, which still seems like the magic number, that's when this Charizard orange really started to come together. Now that the base color's down, it's time to start incorporating some textures and play into that fire energy card vibe. To do that, I'll be using some stencils like this texture pattern, layering various shades of orange, and then incorporating some darker reds into that as well. As we move into the other material panels, which are nubuck on the toe box and quarter panel, I'm going to again add some soft feel into the paint mixture, along with a couple drops of sticky icky, of course. One additive you might be wondering about is Brush Boost. Its main benefit is to help with hand painting. However, I didn't use it on my son's pair, so I'm still figuring out exactly where it earns its spot in the process. A lot of this system is figuring out when and where to use everything, so I'm sure that as I do more, I'll know when's the best time to incorporate it. Now, looking back at the mock-up, you'll notice I have a vignette around the yellow panels with a bit of orange. To tackle that, we need to mask off all of the orange panels. A lot of people were mentioning that they're having a hard time finding a tape that sticks well to a KixKote painted surface. A lot of these tapes that most of us use, whether it's the Scotch 2060 or the 2020 stuff that you can just buy at Home Depot, just isn't sticking very well, and it's lifting in a lot of cases, especially where you might be airbrushing. I actually think that this Lichamp brand that I use from time to time works pretty well, but since so many people brought this up to me, I thought that it would be worth it to buy as many tapes as I could possibly find, just to make sure that we can absolutely find one that will stick and hold really well to a painted surface. After testing all of these, the only one that worked just as good as Lichamp was this Smarring Robot blue one. This one actually sticks surprisingly well, especially on the canvas material. So I'll use a combination of those two for the rest of this masking job. I've got all my panels masked off, and now I'm going to hit them with a quick splatter effect first. Then I'll take our base yellow and mix in some orange. I'm going to spray this all around the edges of the panel, shooting directly at the tape. I actually did this part on Instagram Live, so make sure you're following me over there if you're not already. Then it's time to peel off that tape and move into the teal. Since we're working with this elephant print on the swoosh and this scaly type pattern on the collar, I'm also going to mix some soft feel and sticky icky into this mixture. One of the additives that we haven't talked about yet that's definitely going to come in handy is thick sauce. When it's time to touch up our edges, I like to add just a bit of it in order to thicken up the paint. It makes it easier to glide the paint right along the edges of the swoosh and get it done in one coat. I'll follow that same protocol when I add a red border along the stitch line of each orange panel. I've got one more thing left to do before we can move on to the next major step, and that's add a bit of cell shading to our teal panels. I'll need to mix just a bit of black into the teal to darken it up, and then apply that along the contours of those panels. I wanted to do this just to kind of lean into that cartoon or animation type style. And as I'm looking at these, I feel like it's starting to come together. We've got fire or burnt ember textures on the orange, vignette and splatter on the yellow, that cartoon shading on the teal. All of these little techniques working together that really help bring a theme like this to life. Now, there's one part here that I know you've been waiting to hear how to do, and that is the sock liners. This is one of those areas that's super important on custom shoes that are actually meant to be worn. First off, we want to make sure that when somebody puts their foot in these, it's still nice and soft. And second, we want to make sure that none of this paint rubs off onto their socks. So we have to make sure to do this part right. First, we've got to mask off the whole upper. Tape, saran wrap, the whole deal. I usually do recommend knocking this part out first, but I was just so excited to get to everything else that I knew you would want to see some of those other parts first. Now for the actual mixture, I'm going to use a ratio of 70% paint, 20% water, and 10% soft feel. And that specific ratio is definitely not a guess. I spent a ton of time wear testing on practice shoes to try to dial this in. I tested way more soft feel in traditional 1-to-1 ratios, tried lots more water, and this is what seemed to work best. Here's the thing though, the mixture is only half the battle. I think an equally crucial step is the heat setting protocol. So once this paint is down, I'm heat setting in 15 to 20 second bursts constantly over the next day or so as I continue working on these. You're not just letting it dry, you're actively fusing it into the material. Short bursts, consistent heat. That's what makes the difference in my opinion. I'm pretty satisfied with the color after 3 light coats. And honestly, the less you need to do, the better here. You want thin, layered coverage, not thick buildup. And that's a wrap on the sock liner portion of these. Now, there's 3 more little details that I want to add that I think will really make this design pop. A minimalistic head graphic on the tongue tag, a Charizard silhouette on the back heels, and a custom wings logo. Let's start with the tongue tag. We'll paint it similar to our other fabrics by mixing soft feel into the paint. I like to try to add a bit of tape behind the tongue tag just in case any paint bleeds through. Then, we need to use a much stronger vinyl than usual for fabrics. Nowadays, I'm still using this glitter vinyl with the crazy long name. This is what I found to work best on things like canvas, suede, cotton, etc. Unfortunately though, after painting this stencil, I did have quite a bit of that dreaded spidering where the paint leaked through. I'm sure there was some user error on my end as I perhaps didn't heat it enough, or maybe I applied too much paint, but hey, you can't hit every shot. Nothing we can't fix with our trusty toothpick. It's a small little detail, but this felt like the perfect spot to try and add another little Charizard element. For the wings logo, since we're working on leather, I know a lot of you guys have reached out and asked me which everyday vinyl works best, because it hasn't been sticking quite as well to KixKote painted surfaces as maybe you're used to. And I have found that the Oracal 651 matte in white actually works best. My preferred Oracal 811 that I've loved for years and just did a huge video on actually didn't work quite as well on the KixKote painted surfaces. I'm gonna keep sticking with this one for now. As you can see, this stencil turned out really clean, and then I've got just a few spots to add some color into the Pokeball. This is one unique little detail that some people might not even notice at first glance on these, and I love trying to incorporate that type of stuff. For the heel stencil, I'm actually doing like a mini multi-layer stencil here. So once I've got it painted solid orange, I'll start stenciling off some of the individual sections. I kinda realized it wasn't popping out quite how I wanted in my head. So I'm going to cover up the silhouette in order to create a bit more separation from the background. I'll start with a drop shadow around the stencil and then follow that up with some gold and then this rising sun type stencil. With just that little touch added behind the graphic, it stands out so much more. Once all of the painting is complete, it's time to walk through the touch-ups and how to handle them. First thing to know, dried up paint on the midsole doesn't scrape off quite as easily. Once it sets, it's really on there, which makes sense because it's so much stronger. So to remove it, we need to dip a Q-tip in acetone to get it off. Then, if there are any spots near the midsole where you might have over-taped, you can try a bit of thick sauce or even brush boost to touch up those spots. A couple light coats and it'll blend right in. Now, let's talk about applying the finisher. I'm using finisher number 2, which is a factory matte level sheen, and this is going to feel very similar to what you're already likely using. An important note to remember though, you've gotta add the sticky icky into this step too, same as everywhere else in this system. 2 light coats with a bit of dry time in between, and this will have that smooth right out of the factory look. We're now 50 plus hours in on these between all of the prep, painting, and touch-ups, and it's time for the one review that actually matters. Say what you think.
Holy moly. With the Zard? Those are sick. These are dope. Oh yeah. Nice little ice bottom.
I like how it says flight at the bottom. Kind of lines up with the theme.
Right? These are dope, bro. These will definitely be a hit at the convention. Can't wait to wear.
There is nothing quite like the gift of sharing your artwork with others. And now, being able to do it with confidence that it's actually something that's going to hold up feels even more special. Now listen, I've heard all of the feedback from you guys about switching, and I know so many of you already have a ton of paint that you've invested in. And I get it, it's hard to spend even more money on a brand new system, but I may just have something for you. KixKote wants to help out. For the next week only, you can send in your old paint for credit towards new KixKote paints. This is the perfect time to make the switch if you've been on the fence about it. I also truly want to say thank you to you guys for the warm reception on me announcing this move recently. And now I can't wait to see what you guys are able to do with it, because this is a system that you're going to see over and over again that just works. So now, everybody get out there and just create.